I want to bring us to a moment that happened Wednesday. There was a fiery moment involving you at a House Appropriations Committee hearing. You confronted Secretary of State Antony Blinken about this incident. Can you take us to that moment?
Absolutely. So what's so frustrating with Antony Blinken and the Biden administration is all they need to do is issue that do not travel order. They can unilaterally do that. They don't need congressional approval. The other thing that infuriates me is I feel like the State Department officials we met with did not have a good understanding of these cases. It was very clear that they weren't doing health and comfort visits, which is required on them to do when you have a detained American overseas. They also were very unwilling to pressure the Turks and Caicos government. They were unwilling to pressure the business community on the island. Simply said, the State Department under Tony Blinken and Biden, they're weak, they're feckless, and at best, they're incompetent. And I expressed that opinion to the secretary, and I just wanted him to commit that he would that day, yesterday, do a do not travel order on Turks and Caicos. Of course, he's not going to do that because this administration leads from behind. They acquiesce to these banana republics. And the result of it is that you have 4 Americans that are facing 12-year mandatory minimum sentences in prisons that have been flagged by the UN for being humanitarian prisons of humanitarian concern. So it's very frustrating when I hear the administration and their unwillingness to act on behalf of these Americans.
So you're saying there's no indication they will have a do not travel order on Turks and Caicos?
So far, with the individuals we spoke to in the State Department, they're unwilling to have a do not travel. Now, right now, they have a caution. So the cautionary levels go from 1 to 4. Currently, Turks and Caicos is at a 2, which just says that use caution. But if we elevate this to a level 4, that's the highest you can go, and that's a do not travel. Again, it would overnight cripple the economy at Turks and Caicos. The Biden administration, though, just refuses to use their power and their leverage to bring these Americans home. It's totally frustrating. But Brittany, there's a way we can circumvent the Biden administration. There's actually 2 ways we can do it. Number one, we can go to individual states because states can issue their own do not travel. So I'm going to be on the phone with Florida officials, for example, Texas officials, Virginia officials. Those 3 states are where I'm focusing on because the vast majority of cruise ships leave from those 3 states. So if we get those 3 states to do a do not travel, it's game over for Turks and Caicos. The other thing we can do, and I've had conversations with the chairman of Ways and Means, we can slap a 25% tax on all imports going into Turks and Caicos. That would also bring Turks and Caicos to their knees within a matter of weeks because they just couldn't afford to pay a 25% tax on 90% of the imports coming into their country.
I know you want to work with these other states, but Secretary of State Antony Blinken did say that he welcomes working with you on this. And he also said, bring the information to me after your remarks. Has he reached out to you? Have you been working together? Have you had a one-on-one? Has there been anything other than that moment on Wednesday?
No, it's been totally laughable. We've been trying to work with the Biden administration, the State Department before we went on our congressional delegation, after we got back. And this isn't the only wrongfully detained American that I've dealt with Tony Blinken with. We have a wrongfully detained Pittsburgh man that's in Russia. We've been trying to advocate for his release from a Russian gulag in Siberia for well over a year now. And they've been absolutely unwilling to assist. It seems very clear to me that if you're a celebrity basketball player, you get all the attention in the world. But if you're just some guy from what they perceive as flyover country, you get zero attention from this administration. And it's very clear that they're unwilling to act, not just for the Turks and Caicos, the Americans that are wrongfully detained in Turks and Caicos, but also Americans that are wrongfully detained in Russia as well.